Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. On today's Money Not Math conversation, we are talking about preparing to have children and planning a paternity leave resolution. I apologize, I'm reading off my phone, so it might look a little different than it usually does. But if you're watching and not listening to the podcast, and it's from the Pro Daddy app, and it's weekly tip number 31. So my wife and I are expecting our first child, who's going to be who's a girl. Come both end of August, early September, depending on when she decides to show up. And so we're in week 31, and the article that if you are having a child or are going to in the future or however, whatever you're looking at there, I highly recommend these apps. I think they're hilarious. The three that I'll give a shout out to are Daddy Up, Pro Daddy, and Pregnancy Plus, all for different reasons. Daddy Up's hilarious. Pro Daddy provides some good information. Be warned, you can tell that they have sponsorships because they strongly recommend different companies and what's I'm looking for, different wow, my brain's leaving me. Different materials or products. Products, that's the word I was looking for. Different products from different companies. So you can tell there's sponsorships involved, and that's okay. Just take it with a grain of salt. I've taken their advice in a couple areas, and I know my wife's really appreciated it. And the third one is Pregnancy Plus. I think that one's fun too. So you don't have to do all three, but those are three I have. Recommend them. They're fun. So into the article. So it's planning a paternity resolution and preparing to have a child. So I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but just highlighting a couple of main points that I think they're good. So the first one is I think this was kind of funny. They talk about paternity resolutions should not be like those drunken New Year's resolutions to lose 20 pounds while ripping IPAs, eating pepperoni pizza with the boys. Find one or two realistic tasks that would improve your family's day-to-day or well-being, and make a small plan. So I think the reason why I'm reading this one is because I think it applies to everything in life. So whether it's having a child, building a financial plan, right, improving our lives financially, or losing weight, whatever it might be, I think this is valuable. They say from the books, think small, from authors Owain Service and Rory Gallagher. Lay out a measured and tested approach. They say, number one, make a commitment, right? So that's important. We can think all we want, but if we don't commit to anything, nothing's going to happen. Number two, write it down, right? And make it public with friends and family. And three, appoint a commitment referee. So I don't know about the commitment referee thing, but when it comes to financial planning, I strongly encourage you to make a commitment and write it down and talk to someone you trust about it, whether it's your advisor, your planner, or your spouse, whatever it may be, and really work towards that, right? And have a plan written down. The second part is for paternity leave resolution ideas. Number one, I'm going to reduce our monthly expenses by $100 and invest in a new 529 plan. All right, for those who are wondering, 529 plans are tax advantage college savings accounts. And the way that they're tax advantage is you can save into them tax deferred, like a 401k. And then as long as you use the money for your child's college expenses, specific college expenses, it can't be any college expenses, you can use that money tax-free as well. So the advantage is you put the money in tax deferred, so you get to write off there, then you use it tax-free, so you know there's tax advantage there. The drawbacks to be aware of are, if your child decides not to go to college, then what are you going to do with the money, right? They have very specific rules around that money can be spent on. I think it's like first cousins or siblings, but there's some work you got to do there. So be aware before you sign up on what those contingencies are, because there's no guarantee all of our kids are going to college, and maybe we don't all want our kids to go to college with the direction that the education system is going, not only from a cost standpoint and things like that. And two, more often than not, almost all the time, these 529 plans are invested in the stock market, oftentimes mutual funds. So you have to be understanding that you only have an 18-year runway to build that money up, assuming you start right away. So there's not that much time to compound. Two, what if the market corrects itself like it did 3 months ago or 4 months ago, or in 2008 or in 2002 or 90, all these different times the market's corrected itself. What if the market corrects itself right before your kid goes to college? Now you have a decision to make, right? So that could put you in a tough spot. So are you willing to put your kid's college savings in the stock market, which can be risky, is something else to consider. So what I'm getting at is, I'm not saying the stock market, or I'm not saying 529 plans aren't good options, because they are good options. They just may not be the best ones for you if you want more flexibility on how you use that money, and you don't want to have to pull it off the compounding curve and the growth curve while right before it takes off, or right when the market's corrected itself. All right, so number two recommendation from them. I'm going to secure my house or income long term. So they say having a new baby can make you realize how insecure your house may be to the creepy guy living down the street. With the advent of better sensors and smartphones, basically talking about just getting better security systems can never be a bad idea. And they talk about in a previous post, we talked about the importance of beefing up your life insurance. All right, so life insurance is, I've talked about this in the past, and I'll talk about in the future. But from a protection standpoint, we have to understand what are we protecting when it comes to our life insurance. Are we protecting our debts, or are we protecting our ability to create income for the future of our family? All right, so that's where it comes down to things like human life value and understanding that if something happens to me, not only does my wife lose my income this year, she loses my income for the next 18 plus years that we were hoping to raise our children together and build a future together and plan a retirement together. So there's a lot more than just the debt that we have right now and the income I create this year that she's losing out on. So if you aren't quite sure if your life insurance protection is good enough, or even if you're unsure or if you're not confident in it, please talk to someone you trust. It's worth at least having a conversation to make sure that you aren't leaving your loved ones in a tough situation should something happen to you. The second part of that they say is, or maybe you can get, sorry, I gotta find my spot. Here we go. Life insurance game, but we glossed over disability insurance. God forbid something happens to you and your ability to work, sleep a bit easier knowing that your weekly income can be protected with relatively affordable disability plan. So I talked about this really recently. I strongly recommend understanding clearly if you have group long-term disability insurance. If you do, how much does it cover? And what's the gap if you get sick or hurt and cannot work? Because 1 in 4 of us from the age of 20 to the time we retire will have a long-term disability claim according to statistics, and the average one's around 2.5 to 3.5 years. So ask yourself, what would my financial life look like, and how would I support my family if I lost even 20 to 30% of my income for 2.5 to 3.5 years? All right, so that's with group long-term disability. Now imagine if you don't have group long-term disability. Now ask yourself, how would I support my family, and how much would we financially struggle if we lost 100% of my income for 2.5 to 3.5 years? All right, no one wants to imagine themselves sick or unable to work. I hope it never happens to me or anyone I know either, but I already know it has happened to people I know. So I just hope everyone takes the time to protect themselves and their wealth and their families. All right, so the third one they talk about, again, I'm going to complete that house project I've been putting off. So maybe it's a good time to do some sort of house project. I'm not going to go into that too much. I'm not the handyman of the family. I fortunately married into a family that has a lot more skill in that world than I do. I'm ready to start meal prepping. They talk about the value of prepping for meals and eating healthy, because we're only as healthy as what we eat. So if we don't eat healthy and exercise, then not only are we going to deteriorate physically, but mentally as well. And it's harder to support and raise our children. So that's the conversation today. Money, not math. Portion of it's about money, portion about just family, because I'm about to have my first child and I'm excited about that. And hopefully, hope everyone else is doing well through this COVID chaos. So today's conversation was preparing to have children and planning a paternity leave resolution. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate you taking the time to join me in it. Please let me know what you think by reaching out, commenting, liking, or sharing these posts, whether it's a social media post or a podcast. I truly, truly do appreciate it, the fact that you're willing to listen or watch. And I'll appreciate it even more if you're willing to like, share, or comment on the post as well. So thank you again. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks, and bye. Oh, one last thing. If you're around the Thief River Falls area and you've gotten this far and haven't turned off this conversation yet, this Wednesday at 5:30 to 7:30, we're the Falls Under 40 group of the Chamber of Commerce is having a meet and greet at the Falls Stay and Play from 5:30 to 7:30 to welcome myself and one other new member, Ashley Nairhaus. Hopefully I said her name right. And we'd love to see you out there. So if you aren't golfing, which I know a lot of people are, because I know I golf, if you aren't golfing and aren't busy, we'd really love to see you out there. I'm pretty sure there'll be free appetizers as long as, if I'm not wrong on that. So thanks again for your time. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.